In the golden courts of Oakhaven, knowledge was a rare currency, and Kaelin was its wealthiest merchant. At only 24, he was the youngest royal physician in history. Brilliant and fiercely observant, Kaelin spent his days surrounded by ancient medical tomes and glass vials. He was also the closest confidant of Prince Julian, a young man of the exact same age, bound by a brotherly friendship forged in the castle libraries. The realm was at peace under the rule of the wise King Aldous. But peace is a fragile glass, easily shattered. One evening, the king collapsed in the throne room, gasping for air. Kaelin rushed to his side. The king's symptoms were terrifying. His veins blackened, his skin turned ice cold, and he coughed up a dark, unnatural bile. Kaelin worked desperately, mixing antidotes and drawing blood, but the disease acted too fast. Within hours, the beloved king was dead. As Kaelin stood over the body, his brilliant mind raced. This was no natural illness. It was a highly sophisticated poison. Before Kaelin could share his theory, Lord Thorn, the kingdom's powerful and ambitious prime minister, stepped into the chambers with the royal guard. "The king is dead under your care, boy," Lord Thorn announced, his voice dripping with venom. "You gave him the wrong medicine. Your incompetence has cost us our ruler." Prince Julian, grief-stricken and manipulated by the prime minister's lies, could not look his friend in the eye. Stripped of his titles, his robes, and his honor, Kaelin was banished from the kingdom, under the threat of execution if he ever returned. Exiled and disgraced, Kaelin wandered the harsh, rain-swept wilderness of the borderlands. He had nothing but his satchel of medical supplies and the burning, unanswered questions about the king's death. On the third day of his exile, Kaelin stumbled upon a gruesome scene in a forest clearing. A dozen mercenaries lay dead in the mud. In the center of the carnage, leaning heavily against a massive broadsword, was a woman. She wore heavy, dented silver armor, and her dark hair clung to her pale, sweating face. She was bleeding profusely from a deep wound in her side. Kaelin recognized her immediately. It was Eliana, the vanguard commander of the royal army, a legend among the king's soldiers. "Stay back," Eliana grunted, raising her heavy sword with trembling hands. "If you swing that, you'll tear your stitches and you'll bleed out in 2 minutes," Kaelin said calmly, dropping to his knees and opening his medical satchel. "I am a physician. Let me save you." Eliana, losing too much blood, collapsed into his arms. For a week, they took shelter in an abandoned forester's cabin. Kaelin worked tirelessly, cleaning her wounds, brewing herbal antibiotics, and stitching her torn flesh with absolute precision. When Eliana finally woke, the fever had broken. She looked at the exiled physician who had saved her life. "They said you poisoned the king," Eliana said, her sharp eyes studying him. "And they said I was a traitor for questioning Lord Thorn's orders. It seems the Prime Minister is cleaning house." Bound by their shared betrayal, Kaelin and Eliana formed a formidable partnership. She provided the protection of her steel, and he provided the brilliance of his mind. But Kaelin could not let the past go. He explained the blackened veins and the freezing skin of the late king. "It mimics the winter's breath plague," Kaelin deduced by the campfire one night, looking at his notes. But the onset was too rapid. There is only one botanical agent that can do that: the midnight orchid, a highly toxic flower that only grows in the volcanic soil of the eastern ridges. Eliana didn't hesitate. She strapped on her armor. "Then we ride east," When they reached the hidden eastern valleys, they found a massive plantation, but it was completely destroyed. The fields were scorched to ash, the tracks covered. Lord Thorn was erasing the evidence. As they searched the burnt ruins, Eliana noticed a trail of fresh blood leading to a small, ruined stone cellar. Inside, they found the master botanist, an old farmer, dying from a sword wound to the chest. Kaelin knelt beside the dying man, trying to stop the bleeding, but it was too late. "Thorn's men," the old farmer choked out, gripping Kaelin's wrist with a bloody hand. "They took the harvest, burned the rest." Before his final breath, the farmer opened his trembling hand, revealing a single, unburnt glass vial containing a crushed, dark purple flower, the midnight orchid, the final piece of the puzzle. Kaelin examined the flower, his eyes darkening with realization. He used this to kill King Aldous, and he took the rest of the harvest. He isn't finished. He's going to use it on Julian. The journey back to the capital was a race against time, but Lord Thorn had anticipated loose ends. As Kaelin and Eliana crossed the narrow stone bridge of Viper's Pass, they were ambushed. 20 heavily armed mercenaries, hired by the Prime Minister, blocked their path. The mercenary captain drew his axe, smirking at the unarmed physician and the wounded woman. Thorn sends his regards. Kaelin took a step back, but Eliana stepped forward, placing herself between the physician and the killers. She drew her massive broadsword, the steel singing in the cold air. "You are not fighting a wounded woman," Eliana said, her eyes burning with the fury of a true commander. "You are fighting the vanguard of Oakhaven." The battle was a breathtaking display of lethal martial prowess. Eliana moved with terrifying speed and precision. She parried an axe swing, spun, and kicked a mercenary off the bridge. When an archer aimed at Kaelin, Eliana threw a throwing knife with deadly accuracy, dropping the archer instantly. Kaelin didn't just hide. Using his knowledge of alchemy, he threw glass vials of explosive chemical powders into the mercenary ranks, blinding them and giving Eliana the openings she needed. They fought as one, a perfect symphony of science and steel. Within minutes, the mercenaries were defeated. Breathing heavily, Eliana wiped the blood from her blade and looked back at Kaelin. He looked at her not with fear, but with absolute awe and deep, undeniable admiration. "We make a good team, Commander," Kaelin said, a small smile breaking through his serious demeanor. "Keep throwing those powders, physician, and I might just keep you around," she smirked. They arrived at the capital on the day of King Julian's formal coronation banquet. The great hall was filled with nobles. At the head table sat the young king, looking pale and exhausted. Standing right beside him, acting as his closest advisor, was Lord Thorn, holding a golden chalice of wine to toast the new ruler. "Drink, my king, for the health of the realm," Thorn urged with a sinister smile. Julian raised the chalice to his lips. Suddenly, the heavy oak doors of the great hall burst open. The royal guards flew backward as Eliana marched into the hall, her silver armor stained with mud and blood, her broadsword drawn. Right behind her was Kaelin. "Julian, do not drink that!" Kaelin shouted, his voice echoing in the silent hall. Lord Thorn's face went pale. "Guards, arrest the murderers!" But the guards hesitated, intimidated by Commander Eliana, who leveled her sword directly at the Prime Minister's throat. "Anyone who moves dies," Eliana commanded. Kaelin walked straight to the king's table. He snatched the golden chalice from Julian's hand. He pulled a silver needle from his satchel, dipped it into the wine, and then dropped a single drop of a chemical reagent from a vial onto it. The wine instantly bubbled and turned a violent, unnatural black. The court gasped. "The Midnight Orchid," Kaelin declared, staring coldly at Lord Thorn. "The same poison you used to murder your father, Julian. The symptoms weren't a disease. It was murder. Thorn wanted the old king dead, and he wanted you dead next so he could seize the throne as regent." Kaelin pulled out the glass vial containing the purple flower they found at the burnt farm, slamming it onto the table. Julian looked at the black, bubbling wine, then at the flower, and finally at the Prime Minister, his eyes filling with rage and betrayal. "You killed my father?" Realizing he was trapped, Thorn drew a hidden dagger and lunged at the young king. But Eliana was faster. With a lightning-fast strike, she disarmed Thorn and kicked him to his knees, pressing the edge of her broadsword against his neck. "Move, and I'll take your head," Eliana hissed. Lord Thorn was dragged away in chains, his conspiracy completely dismantled. The court was in shock, but the truth was undeniable. King Julian stepped down from the dais. He walked over to Kaelin, tears in his eyes, and embraced his oldest friend. "I am so sorry I doubted you, Kaelin. I was blind." "You were grieving, Julian. A good king learns from his blindness," Kaelin replied with a gentle smile. That evening, Kaelin stood on the royal balcony overlooking the city. His titles were restored, and he was named the chief scholar of the realm. But the title meant nothing compared to the woman who walked up behind him. Eliana stood beside him, her armor polished, the badge of the Vanguard commander restored to her chest. "So, the brilliant physician gets his laboratory back," Eliana said, leaning against the stone railing. Kaelin turned to her, his brilliant eyes softening. "A laboratory is just a room, Eliana. I've realized that the greatest discoveries aren't found in books." He reached out, gently taking her calloused, battle-scarred hand in his. Eliana didn't pull away. Instead, she stepped closer, resting her head against his shoulder as they looked out over the peaceful kingdom they had saved together. Science had solved the mystery. Steel had won the battle. But it was love that had saved them both.